Alright, so I'm finally getting to a point after all these years where I'm going to try to do some demos on flint knapping. I'm not the best at it. That's why it's taken me so long to try and do this. I'm hit or miss with it, but I think it's about time for me to share a little bit what that I know. There are definitely resources that are out there that are my inspirations and that I've learned from, that have taught me. On YouTube, there's Paleo Man Jim. His channel is awesome for learning flint knapping. And then you also want to check out Practical Primitive on YouTube, as well as their website, practicalprimitive.com. Eddie Starnader and Julie Martin. They're great primitive technologists and instructors. That's what they do for a living. They have lots of resources and have been just a wealth of inspiration for me as far as flint knapping is concerned. So what I'm going to do right now is just show you some of the pieces I've done over the years. These are the ones that have turned out, and I have very few, only because I've gifted a lot. I've given away a lot, but I'm just going to show you what I've done so far, and as well as the tools for flint knapping. And then there's going to be terminology with that, because it's a whole world and art and science in and of itself. So right now I have a box full of some of the things that I have made. And first off, I'm going to just pull out, and I'm just going to just kind of show, and I'm going to place them right here. So one piece that I have here is a piece of Keokuk. This is a white piece of siliceous stone. What I mean by siliceous, meaning it's got a lot of silica in it, or sand, or glass. And this is a spear tip that I was trying to make. And the cool thing about siliceous stone is that you can shape it, you can knap it, and it breaks predictably, and that's why you can shape it. And these white pieces are made of Keokuk. So here's another piece that I have that is made of Keokuk, and it's just another point. And this is just what I would say it's just a point. I didn't make it into a spear tip. I didn't make it into any sort of arrowhead, if you will. It's just a biface, what we call it. It's a biface. And I have some smaller Keokuk pieces here. I'll just pull them each out. This is a shape that would have probably be possibly an arrowhead. It's a little thick. Working on getting them thinner, and that's always a challenge. But again, this is made of Keokuk. And here's just a smaller biface that has a rounded end. This could be kind of a chipper or a hand axe or a scraper. You'd use it like that. Here's another piece that's a triangular piece, and I like this one actually. This has some good flake scarring in it, and it's when you chip off a piece from the body, you create a scar that's flake scarring, and you can tell really good quality or good skilled napper by the flake scarring in the pieces. Here's an odd shape, and within flint knapping you can do all kinds of shapes. You know, not just arrowheads and spear tips and things like that, knives and things. I've seen coyotes, I've seen abstract pieces, I've seen hearts, I've seen all kinds of cool shapes, and this is one. This is kind of like a different. I don't know. I was just playing around with it and seeing what I could do as far as shapes is concerned. So now we move on. Oh, here's another Keokuk piece that's more of a tip. That is a little smaller. And then I have some chert pieces. And chert is again, is in our hemisphere, North America, is the closest that we get to flint. So the term flint knapping can be a bit of a misnomer if you're not like in the UK somewhere where you can actually try to find true flint. but chert is the closest that we have. And again, it's sewn. It's a rock with a lot of silica in it, and there's a hardness scale in stone. And if tin is a diamond, glass would be like a 5. So from glass to diamond, you have this range. And so a lot of these stones, these rocks, even porcelain, is in the range of about a 7. So about 5, 7 is my understanding is knappable, and chert is about a 7. And you know, you can knap this into a piece. This is just a piece that I had done. It's not very thick. This is sort of kind of a knife blank that I tried to make. Again, not as thin as I'd like it to be, but you know, just some pieces you can shape this rock. And again, is another tip, another biface here. Again, I just placed these all here, and I'll zoom in later to see. Now I have this piece here that's a scraper that I can scrape and shape with. I didn't do anything with the back part. It's really kind of a wedge, but this has actually worked pretty well for me in some projects that I've done. Place that like that. Now we come to, we got a couple more chert pieces here. Some other bifaces that I've worked on. And then we come to our obsidian pieces. And obsidian is volcanic glass, and it's very dark. And again, when we talk about the hardness scale, this is really easily knapped. Because it's basically glass, but it is produced by volcanic activity. And obsidian is very interesting. Has very interesting properties. It's extremely sharp. Extremely sharp. Even when you flake, you break it. Medicinally, they use little chips of obsidian for surgery, for types of surgery like neurosurgery and whatnot. Because when you compare the edge of a scalpel under an electron microscope magnified 10,000 times to the edge of a piece of a flake of obsidian, the steel scalpel has rough ridges and pits and valleys, whereas at 10,000 times magnification, obsidian is smooth. It's straight smooth. So this is very interesting material. It's easy to knap. You do have to be careful with it. We will talk about safety in a minute, but these are the black pieces of obsidian. And here's some other pieces. This is another triangular biface that I made, kind of a blank into something that I could have made into an arrowhead or a spear tip or something like that. And then another biface is working on. And then here is another tip, and you can have some interesting shapes that you can do. You know, kind of the sky's the limit once you get and understand how to work or knap stone, this type of stone, right? So we can move further on into some of the different arrowheads that I've made. And again, I've had many more, and I'm wearing one now that I've made. Again, when we talk about glass, this is one of my very first pieces made out of a bottle bottom of a bottle, the bottle bottom of a bottle. This is Keokuk here. This is obsidian arrowhead, and this is a piece of chert arrowheads. And so, you know, this is you can make your this is how you make your primitive stone points, even for modern archery. And then I've got this is a scraper that I made, and it has a piece of Keokuk in it that I've napped the edges rough, and I've used this as a hide scraper for tanning hides, and it does work. It works pretty well. It just works pretty well. And this piece of wood, the handle, is literally off of a limb of a tree. So if you can imagine this this is the body of the main body of the tree or the limb, and then this is the limb. Well, you flip it upside down, split it in half. I cut some notches in here, and I can place this stone tool in there, and now I've got a handle to where I can scrape. And I have a DVD out on brain tanning buckskin, the dry scrape method, where I actually show you how to use this tool, and it worked pretty well. It's the same tool. So that's just a brief overview of some of my pieces for flint knapping. So I've had some successes. Still, it's a work in progress, and so hopefully I'm going to be able to move into making some other pieces on video. We'll see how that works out. Okay, as a recap and for close-ups, here are some of the pieces that we talked about. This is this is my piece of Keokuk that I've worked on. It could be possibly spear tip. Here's some other bifaces. Again, they're not credit card thin, but working on it. Some other pieces, and you can hear how they clink together. They sound just like glass. This is a scraper here that I was talking about. It's kind of chunky on the end, but it's perfect in the hand to do a lot of scraping and do some work with this. This little knife blank that I was working on. Again, it could be thinner. Pieces of Obsidian. And you got to be careful when you handle this, because these are sharp. They're no joke. These are tools that would hurt. This is another piece here. This is the biface, triangular biface. Arrowheads, and this is a piece of Obsidian arrowhead. And then here is a piece of chert that I worked on. This is a piece of Keokuk here. And then this is a bottle bottom glass, and one of my first pieces like years ago. I think I've been doing this a solid like 10 years so far. 10 plus, about 10 years. So this was my first piece. So there's a little bit of a convexity in there, some concavity in there, but I was happy with it at the time. And then here is my flesher for tanning hides, and this is what it looks like. This is kind of how I lashed it together. And again, this is how you kind of can look at a piece of wood and look at it differently, and how you could turn it into a handle for fleshing. And that's what this is. It's sharp and rough, and it does the job. And again, that's in my DVD video of brain tanning buckskin, the dry scrape method. You can get that at my website, the Urban-Aboriginal.com, if you're interested. And then lastly, I'll show you, I have a pump drill that I made, and this pump drill takes a stone tip that I napped that's kind of got a different shape to it, and it's I'm hoping to replicate this, make a longer one, and this is made of chert, and I need to make another drill bit, but this is napped chert.